Welcome to Hidden Knowledge Archive.
In the veiled mists of ancient China, a secret was born. It was not forged in steel, nor carved in stone. It was a power cultivated in darkness, a discipline known only as shadow training. For centuries, its existence was a mere whisper among warrior clans, a forbidden art passed down through bloodlines sworn to secrecy. This was more than a fighting style. It was a way to master the mind itself. Its origins are shrouded in the shadows of forgotten dynasties, a technique so potent it was deemed a threat to the very order of the empire. This was not a technique for the common soldier. It was reserved for an elite few, those destined for impossible missions, to be ghosts in the service of the emperor, or silent guardians of sacred knowledge. The reason for its secrecy was simple and terrifying. Shadow training didn't just teach one how to fight. It taught one how to become an extension of the void, a human weapon devoid of fear, hesitation, and doubt. To the uninitiated, a master of this art appeared to move before thought, to react before an attack was even launched. Emperors feared that if such power fell into the wrong hands, a single warrior could topple a dynasty. It was a power that bordered on the divine, and therefore it had to be contained. The training was a double-edged sword. It granted unparalleled ability, but demanded the sacrifice of one's own humanity, isolating the practitioner in a world of silent observation and absolute control. The first principle of shadow training was not physical, but mental. The core of its power lay in achieving a state of absolute calmness, a mental stillness known as Wu Nian, or no mind. Warriors would retreat to secluded mountain temples or hidden caves for months, even years. They would sit for days on end, facing a blank wall, their only task to observe the endless stream of their own thoughts without attachment. They learned to see thoughts as clouds passing in the sky, transient, impersonal, and ultimately powerless. They practiced breathing techniques that slowed the heart to a near-silent rhythm, creating a profound inner quiet that external chaos could not penetrate. This was not emptiness, but a state of heightened presence. In the silence of their own minds, they discovered that the universe itself was speaking. Every rustle of a leaf, every drop of water, every shift in the wind became a clear and distinct signal. Their mind became a mirror, reflecting the world exactly as it was, without the distortion of fear or ego. Once the mind was stilled, the true ritual could begin. This was the practice that honed reaction speed to a level that defied belief. The trainee would stand in a completely darkened chamber, sometimes for an entire day. At random intervals, without any pattern or warning, a single silent projectile, often a soft cloth ball, but sometimes something far more dangerous, would be launched from an unknown direction. The goal was not to see the object, for there was no light. The goal was to feel its approach. The warrior had to train their entire body to become an antenna, sensing the subtle disturbance in the air, the faint pressure change, the whisper of movement that preceded the object's arrival. In the beginning, they would be struck countless times, but slowly their senses would sharpen. Their skin would learn to detect the faintest air currents. Their ears would attune to frequencies others couldn't hear. Their intuition, honed by the stillness of their mind, would scream a warning moments before the projectile was even launched. It was a brutal, relentless process that pushed the very limits of human perception. They were not just reacting, they were synchronizing with the intention of the unseen world around them. Legends speak of a wandering monk named Jin, who had mastered the shadow training. It is said he was once ambushed by a dozen assassins in a pitch-black forest. Witnesses, hidden in the trees, claimed that not a single blade touched him. He moved like a phantom among them, a flowing shadow that was everywhere and nowhere at once. He didn't block their strikes. He was simply not there when they landed. The fight was over in moments, a silent dance of death where only the assassins fell, their own momentum used against them. Another tale tells of a female warrior, a palace guard named Mei, who single-handedly protected the young emperor during a coup. Trapped in a corridor with torches suddenly extinguished, she faced elite imperial guards. Using only the echoes of their footsteps and the whisper of their armor, she disarmed them all without shedding a drop of blood. Her movements of fluid, unseen force, in the suffocating darkness. These were not just stories of skill. They were testaments to a mind that had transcended the physical senses and touched something deeper. What these ancient masters stumbled upon through ritual and brutal discipline, modern neuroscience is only now beginning to understand. The psychological principle is known as transient hypofrontality. This is a state where the prefrontal cortex, the part of our brain responsible for complex thought, self-consciousness, and doubt, temporarily quiets down. When this happens, our brain processing becomes incredibly efficient. Information flows more directly from perception to action. We enter what athletes call the zone. There is no inner monologue, no what if, no hesitation. There is only pure, unadulterated reaction. The ancient warriors of China had found a way to induce this state at will, turning a fleeting moment of peak performance into a constant state of being. They had, in essence, hacked their own brains. The shadow training technique fundamentally rewires instinct. Our natural instinct in the face of a threat is to tense up, to hesitate, to analyze, the fight or flight response governed by fear. This split second of hesitation is often fatal. Shadow training eradicates it. Through relentless exposure to unexpected stimuli in a controlled environment, the brain learns a new, more efficient pathway. Instead of fear, the response becomes awareness. Instead of tension, the response becomes flow. The body learns to react directly from the subconscious mind, bypassing the slow, clumsy processing of the conscious self. Hesitation is the enemy of survival. The shadow warrior trained until the enemy was not the man with the sword, but the flicker of doubt within their own mind. They became one with the action, the thought and the movement collapsing into a single, instantaneous event. The path to this mastery was paved with unwavering daily discipline. In the temples where this art was cultivated, the day began before sunrise. Monks and warriors would practice what was called listening to the rain. They would sit in quiet courtyards, their eyes closed, and attempt to isolate the sound of a single raindrop hitting the ground and follow its journey as it merged with a puddle. They practiced walking the line, balancing on narrow bamboo poles, their entire focus on the single point of contact between their foot and the wood. Another exercise involved tracking the shadow of a single leaf as it danced in the wind, forcing the mind to maintain unbroken focus on an unpredictable, ever-changing target. These were not feats of strength, but exercises in presence. Each task, no matter how mundane, was a meditation, a tool to forge an unbreakable link between mind, body, and the surrounding world, sharpening focus and awareness into a razor's edge. This lost wisdom, buried for centuries, is not merely a relic of a bygone era. Its power is timeless because it targets the universal human condition, our distracted minds, our crippling fears, our hesitation in the face of challenge. In a modern world filled with constant digital noise, endless distractions, and overwhelming pressure, the principles of shadow training are more relevant than ever. The warrior's darkened room is now our daily life, with unexpected challenges flying at us from every direction. The need for a calm, focused mind has never been greater. The ability to act with decisive clarity, free from the paralysis of overthinking, is the ultimate advantage in any field. You do not need a hidden temple or a secret master to begin this journey. The principles of shadow training can be applied today. Start by creating moments of absolute silence in your day. Turn off your phone, close your eyes, and simply listen. Listen to the hum of your refrigerator, the distant traffic, the rhythm of your own breath. Practice single tasking. When you drink tea, only drink tea. Feel its warmth, taste its flavor, notice the steam. This is the modern equivalent of listening to the rain. Practice moving with intention. Walk without distraction, feeling the ground beneath your feet. This is walking the line. By consciously training your focus and starving your distractions, you begin the process of rewiring your own mind. You learn to quiet the inner critic and awaken the silent observer within. This is the first step on the path of the shadow warrior, a path of discipline, mastery, and a power that comes not from force, but from stillness. The shadow is not a place of darkness, it is a place of potential, and it is waiting within you.